Today we're going to highlight an inlay die cut. Hi, it's Therese from Lostinpaper, and I've got this Dainty Blooms cover die from Altenew, and we're going to do some highlighting of part of the inlay of the cover die. And this is a really fun technique and a great idea with a cover die, especially one like this, because it's actually a whole bunch of flowers and leaves all together in one die, and you can do heaps with it. I thought it'd be fun just to choose a section of the die and make that a highlight, and this is a really easy and quick card to make. Now, I could have easily used some design paper in my background. I want to set this behind my actual die cut. But what I thought I'd do is I'd make my own watercolor background. I've got some Bristol smooth cardstock. It's bigger than what I need, because then I can actually come in and cut the portion that I want to fit across the front of my card. And I'm grabbing some of the blues out of the Altenew watercolor pan set, and I'm just adding lots of water and just mixing them with either the brush or tipping. I don't want them to mix too much because I want some of those nice sharp edges. And then the Bristol Smooth isn't actually a watercolor cardstock, but it tolerates the water really well. There's lots of different ways that you can do the background here. I was thinking another way to highlight it would be just to have a plain colored background. Use design paper, inlay the whole die. That would be awesome. If you've got time, you could inlay this whole die, or even not push out all the pieces, just push out the pieces that you want to actually make as the highlight, and do it that way. So lots of different options here. Like I said, a really pretty die, and I've got a bit of a buckle in my plate. My Gemini Junior gets a working out, and I don't like to use new plates all the time. I like to try and keep using them as much as I can until they no longer work. So if it hasn't cut properly, I can either run it back through with a shim or do what you just saw me doing there, and I've come in just with a craft blade and cut away the portions that hadn't die cut properly. Now, initially I did sort of think that I could pop out all the pieces that I need and then colour them, but I couldn't work out which ones were what. It was just easier for me, because you know how some of them fall out and others kind of stay in place. What I did is actually just come back in and die cut the section that I chose to be the highlight. So you could choose any of the flowers and leaves. I thought it'd be fun just to focus everything down in that bottom left corner. So that's the part of the die that I thought to highlight. So just take a good look at the die and see what you think. I thought some bright yellow flowers that look really pretty with this blue background. And to add some simple colouring, I've just used the artist markers. I could have easily done this with I could have done it with design paper, or I could have done it with just plain cardstock. I just thought the artist markers were easy and I had to do less die cutting. Although I had to die cut it again, because did you notice I didn't actually cut the leaves out with the first pass on my second piece? I just missed them by that much. Alright, I've got an awesome sentiment. I'm really loving the sentiments in the Dainty Blooms. No, I'm not. In the Delicate Flower Bed stamp set. They are really funky, and I thought this Hey Gorgeous would be fun, and I've stamped that out with some, it's a dusk ink. It's I'm pretty sure I used the dusk. It's one of the nice dark blues anyway. It will be linked below and at my blog. Oh, and speaking of my blog, head there because you'll have a chance to win, because this is part of a hop and a release with Altenew. If you are here, excuse me while I choke. Sorry. If you're here and it is, let me think, June 2019, head there. All right, so I've popped my my own personal design watercolor background on the front of my top fold card. I did flatten it out through my wonky plates in my Gemini Junior first, and then I've added the cover die to the front. I did use a lot of matte medium dots on the back of this. I probably should have gone for some double-sided A4 sheets and cut it that way, but I didn't think of it early enough, as usual. And then just to inlay my die cut coloured pieces, I'm just using my matte medium again, and I'm working in sections, so rather than put the matte medium over all of the sections, because it is fairly fast drying, I've actually just added the matte medium to like one flower at a time, and then I did all the leaves. And I'm using my crystal katana to pick it up. It's actually a really handy tool because it will pick up pieces of cardstock. I know that I had the jewel picker, and that wasn't quite as successful with that, but it's another good tool, another good pickup tool. Of course, I'll list all the colours that I've used for the flowers as well at the blog. And this is a nice, fairly flat card, except that I popped this sentiment up, and a great one to post in the mail. So thanks so much for joining me today. Don't forget to like this video if you liked it, and subscribe to my channel. I always love your visits here. Till next time, happy paper crafting. Bye.